Hello students, welcome to our online classes. I am Mrs. Nehal Mori and today I am going to teach you chapter 2nd of History, New Kings and Kingdoms, part 3rd. Okay, in the last two parts we have learnt about new kings and kingdoms, and in the part 2nd we have started with the Chola Empire. Let's quickly revise what we have learnt in the last session. Vijayalaya established the Chola Empire by capturing the delta from Muttariyar in the middle of the 9th century, which means Vijayalaya was the founder of the Cholan Empire and he established the Chola Empire by capturing delta from Muttariyar in the middle of the 9th century. After that, we also learnt about Raja Raja I. Raja Raja I was one of the greatest king of the Cholan Empire, and his son Rajendra I was also a great king. Why he was a great king? Because he developed a navy and conquered not only the Indian territories but Sri Lanka and the countries in the Southeast Asia. So, let's study about the Cholan Empire in detail in today's session. Now, what was the speciality or what was the Cholan Empire well known for? They were well known or they were famous for splendid temples and bronze sculpture. I repeat again, splendid temples and bronze sculptures. Now, what are they? Let's see. The big temples of Tanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Raja Raja I and Rajendra I, are architectural and sculptural marvels. Now here I have given you two beautiful pictures of the temples. The first picture you see is a temple built by Raja Raja I in Thanjavur. Okay, so this was a temple which was built by Raja Raja I in Thanjavur, and the next picture you can see is a Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple built by Rajendra I. Okay, so these two big temples were built by the Cholan kings. As I have told you before, that building huge temple was a sign of the prosperity. So in that time they have built a beautiful temples and they are one of the sculptural marvels. Okay, now Chola temples became the nuclei of the settlements. Now Chola temples, they were not only used for worship, but they also became the center of the settlements. Now why it was so? Let's study. There were centers of craft production around temples. Temples were given land by ruler and others. The agriculture produced obtained from the donated land was used for maintaining all the specialists who worked and lived near the temple. Now this is very important point. The temples were given land by the rulers. That means the kings used to donate the land for the temples, and also the landlords, they used to donate the land, huge piece of land for the temples. Now the temple was built on a small portion of the land. The other remaining land was used for the production, that means agricultural. Okay, so the produce which was obtained from that land, that means the agricultural produce which was obtained from the land, it was used for the people who worked in the temple. For example, who were the people who were working for the temple? Priest. Okay, that means a Brahman in that temple. Garland makers, cooks, sweepers, magicians, dancers, etc. These all people served for the temple. So the agricultural produce which was obtained from the donated land was used for the maintenance of these people. Therefore, we can say that temples were not only the place of worship, but they were also the hub of economic and social cultural life. Okay? Again, I'll repeat. Temples were not only the place of worship, but they were also the hub of economic, social, cultural life as well. Now, the temples and the bronze images. Can you see a beautiful picture over here? This is there in your book also. So, this is what a bronze image. There were many crafts associated with the temples. In the last slide, we have seen that there were many crafts associated with the temples. Now, which were they? The making of bronze images was the most distinctive. Therefore, the bronze images of Chola period were considered as the finest in the world. So, the images or the bronze images made during the Cholan Empire period, they were considered as the finest in the entire world. While most images were the deities, sometimes images were made of devotees as well. Not only the images were made of god or goddesses, sometimes they were made of devotees as well. Next, agriculture and irrigation. The Chola focused on the development of the agriculture because look at the map of the Chola Empire. Now here I have given you a map of a Chola Empire. You can see this part, a darker part is a Chola Empire. So if I tell you, observe here, there is a delta of river Kaveri. Due to river Kaveri, the land of the Cholan Empire was favorable for the cultivation of crops. That means it was very much favorable for the agriculture. Therefore, Chola focused on the development of the agriculture. Okay, river Kaveri and the fertile soil are the reasons for their agriculture development. Can you see here? River Kaveri, due to which they have got plenty of water and also fertile soil. And this was the reason why the agriculture developed in the Cholan Empire. Under Chola period, large scale cultivation was started. Now they have started large scale of cultivation, and if you want to bring the land under cultivation, that means obviously you have to clear the forest for it, and also you have to level the land, right? Large scale cultivation was started, forest was cleared and lands were leveled. Embankments were made to prevent flooding and here it is canals. Canals were constructed to carry water to the fields. So embankments means what? It's if you have seen Mohenjo-daro film, in that film you can see they have made a certain type of bridge on the or a dam or a type of dam on the river. That kind of embankments were made to prevent the flooding, and also the canals were constructed to carry water to the fields. Due to proper irrigation facilities, it was now possible in many areas to grow 2 crops in a year. See, now they are having plenty of water in all seasons. Not only in the rainy seasons, they can have the water through the canals in winters, in summers as well. So it was possible for them to grow 2 crops in a year. Okay, now agriculture and irrigation. To provide water to the crops, artificial arrangements were made. Now, which were the artificial arrangements? Let's see. Variety of methods were used for irrigation. Wells were dug. Tanks were constructed to collect rainwaters, and canals were used to supply water. So these all arrangements were made for the agriculture. Okay, this irrigation, they have provided artificial arrangements were made for the crops. Okay, now these whole work requires planning, organizing and maintaining variety of issues. Rulers and people living in the villages took an active interest in this activity. Okay, now the administration of the empire. This is very important point. Now founding an empire is not an hard job, but how to administer it is a difficult one. So How the administration of empire was done during the Cholan period, let's see it. How was the administration organized in the Chola Empire? Now, settlements of peasants is equal to ur, that means group of peasants. Peasants means the people working in the farms or the craftsmen or the musicians. So these group of the peasants were known as ur. Okay, many group of peasants made nadu. So now here you have to keep in mind a group of people. Okay, they made ur, and then again the group of ur made nadu. That means the group of villages. The village council and the nadu performed several administrative functions, and at the last there was a village council to administer this nadu. Okay, the village council and nadu performed several administrative functions. That means they helped their king in administration of the empire. Example, for providing justice and collecting taxes. For example, now if I give you panch, okay, there are gram panchayat ke panch hote. They used to give justice in the small cases or collecting taxes. All this was done by the nadu or the village councils. So again I tell you, peasants means what? Peasants means the people. If suppose there are 12 families of farmers, they will together form a ur, that means a small village. Now many group of peasants, that means many urs will make a nadu, that means a group of villages. And here there is a village council, that means village council and nadu performed administrative. There is a council to administer the group of villages. Okay, and they used to provide justice, collecting taxes, etc. This kind of work was done by them. Regions of Vellala caste had a major control over the affair of Nadu. Now here the Vellala caste peasants, it's not regions, actually it's a peasants. Peasants of Vellala caste had a major control over the affairs of Nadu. They were considered, the peasants belonging to the Vellala caste were considered to be a major, they were having a major control over the Nadu. Some rich land owners were given titles from Chola kings, and even the titles, different kind of titles were given by the Chola kings, such as Muvendavelam. Muvendavelam means what? A peasant serving 3 kings. And the second one, Ariya. Ariya means what? A chief. Okay. So with these titles, they were entrusted with important offices. Now they were not only given the titles, but along with it they were given a lot of important works. Okay, so they were entrusted with the important offices. Brahmins received land grants in the form of Brahmadeya. Means in that time it was considered to be what to say, it was considered to be a shubh ritual, that if we donate a land to a Brahmin, then it is a good sign. Okay, so Cholan kings or the landlords, they gifted the lands to the Brahmins, and Brahmins received the land grant in the form of Brahmadeya. Okay, therefore large number of Brahmins settled in the Kaveri Valley. Now Chola Empire's center was the Kaveri Valley, and Brahmins were receiving the land grants in the form of Brahmadeya. Therefore huge number of Brahmins settled in the Kaveri Valley. Next, the administration of the empire. Now, again this point comes, how the administration of the empire took place. Now, first point, Sabha, assembly of a prominent Brahmin landlord. So, assembly of all Brahmin together form a Sabha. Okay, they took look after the Brahmadeya, means the land which was granted for them. They looked after the Brahmadaya. Okay, the working of Sabha was recorded in detail in inscription, and whatever work they used to do, they used to inscribe and keep it. So they recorded it in the form of inscription. Another important group was Nagarams. Now, not only the Brahmins, there was also another important group, and it was Nagaram. Now, what was the duty of Nagarams? Duties of Nagarams were association of traders, and occasionally they performed administrative function in the towns. Now traders, it was an association of the traders, and they also helped the king in the administrative functions. So here comes the Vellalas, the Brahmins, that means the Brahmadaya, and the third one is Nagarams. Keep these 3 points in mind. These people helped the king in administrating the empire. The next one, inscription and text. Inscription and text. Can you see the image over here? This is what the inscription from the Uttar mirror in the Chingalput district of Tamil Nadu. So this is the inscription which is found in the Tamil Nadu, in which it has been inscribed that how the Sabha used to work. So I have told you before, the Brahmins were the people who knew how to read and write. So Brahmadaya, whatever the functions of Brahmadaya was there, it is inscribed so that every people in the future also could know what happened at that time. So this inscription is found in Tamil Nadu. Now Sabha, again here comes the Sabha. Sabha had separate committee to look after various works. Now that means Brahmins played a very important role in the administration because they were the people who worked in the Sabha, right? Committees for irrigation work, gardens, temples, etc. Who are the members of the Sabha? Now who elected? There were so many families of Brahmins. Now among them, who elected the members of the Sabha and how did they elect? Let's see it. Okay, so they handled the committees of irrigation work, gardens, temples, etc. Okay, now let's see. Okay, the election process of member. So this is the inscription and text box given in your book also. So who could be the member of the Sabha? The Uttar Merur inscription. This is what the Uttar Merur inscription. What does it say? All those who wish to become members of the Sabha should be the owners of the land from which land revenue is collected. Now there were some points which were very important for the person to become a member of the Sabha. Now which was it? Means it was mandatory that you have to own your own land. All those who wish to become a member of Sabha should be the owner of their land, and such type of land from where the land revenue was collected. They should have their own homes. They should not be living in the rented homes. They should have their own homes. They should be between 35 to 70 years of age. Their age limit was 35 to 70 years. They should have knowledge of Vedas. They should be well versed in administrative matters and honest. If anyone has been a member of any committee in the last 3 years, he cannot become a member of another committee. That means he will get a chance of becoming a member of Sabha once in 3 years. If you have been a member of any committee for the next 3 years, you won't get any chance to become a member. Okay, anyone who has not submitted his accounts and those of his relatives cannot contest the elections. That means if you are not paying a proper land revenue to the king, or if your family member is also not paying proper revenue to the king, then he is not eligible to contest the elections. Now, election process of a member. Name of a eligible member was written on the small ticket of a palm leaf. Now, how the election process took place. After such all following all these points, if at all there are few members who want to who are the what to say, contestants of the elections. Now who will elect them, and what was the election process? Let's see. Name of the eligible member were written on the small tickets of the palm leaf. That means the member's name was written on the palm leaf, and those palm leaves were put in the earthen pot, and a small boy was asked to remove or to take out the ticket for each committee. Now, whoever names come on that ticket was the member of. It means it was such a lucky draw type system, right? Lucky draw type system. If my name comes from the earthen pot, then I will be the what to say, as a member of Sabha for some committee or the other. Such system was followed. But before that, I have to fulfill all these instructions given over here, right? So now types of land. Under Chola Empire, there were several types of land. Chola inscription provides us the record of the following categories of the land. These are the types of land. This is also from your book. This is given in your book also. Now, what type of land were there in the Chola Empire? Chola inscriptions mention several categories of land. First one, Velanvagai. Velanvagai means what? Land of non-Brahman peasant proprietors. Means the people who belonged mostly to the Vellas. I have told you Vellas caste, that means they were non-Brahmins and they were peasants. So Velanvagai was a type of a land which was the land of non-Brahman peasants. Next was Brahmadeya, that means land gifted to Brahmins. This we have already studied. Next is Shala Bhoga, that means the land for the maintenance of a school. Shala means you have understood school. Shala Bhoga means the land which was given for the maintenance of a school. Next one was Devadana. Devadana, that means land gifted to temples. Tirunna Matukani. Tirunna Matukani. That means land gifted to temples. These are South Indian names. They are a little bit difficult to pronounce. Next was Palichandanam. Palichandanam means land donated to Jain institutions. So these all types were types of land were there in the Cholan Empire, and this is inscribed. So we have the records of this land today also, right? So this is what we come with the end of the theory part of the lesson, and in the next session we will discuss about the question answers of this lesson. So part 1, part 2 and part 3 are the three important, no, you cannot miss any part of it. Okay, so dear children, I hope you have enjoyed watching the lesson, you have enjoyed watching the video, sorry. And if you at all you have any doubt, you can personally message me and ask me. Thank you for watching. Thank you and have a nice day.